views and opinions expressed in this program are those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect the views of BronxNet or the program underwriters.
Hola, everyone. Welcome to Open, the one and only show bringing the best of the Bronx, New York, and the world straight to you. I'm Rina Valentin, your host of Café con Leche every Friday. Here's what's coming up in today's show. Leading things off, the Archdiocese of New York has begun their admissions process for the 2018-19 school year, and we'll learn more about how you can enroll your children. And then we're joined by the co-founders of Loving Meditations to find out about their new book, Live Calm with Cancer. After that, we'll discuss the inspiration behind photographer Carlos David's latest exhibit, Personae, Portraits of Personal Fiction. And later on in the show, Bobby C brings us up to date with the latest headlines in the world of sports. And finally, we'll be joined by the ladies of Live Big Girl, a show about empowering women and loving the skin you're in. So sit back y prepárate. All this and more is coming your way because now we are officially open. Hello, welcome to Open, everyone. I'm Rina Valentin, your host of Café con Leche for the next hour. Always inviting you to get social with us online. That's right. Tweet us and follow us on Instagram at BronxNet TV and like us on Facebook at Open BronxNet Television. And of course, don't forget, while you're there, follow moi on Twitter, Instagram, FB, Snapchat, Insta Stories, LinkedIn at Rina Valentin. So, Catholic schools in the Archdiocese of New York provide children of all backgrounds with both an academic and spiritual learning environment. And admissions for the 2018-19 school year for the Archdiocese of New York begins today, December 1st. And their Touring Tuesdays gives families the opportunity to learn more about the 130 participating schools and find one that best fits your child. And joining us now to share more, we welcome Nick Iacono. Yes, Nick Iacono, Director of Communications and Public Relations at the Office of Superintendents of Schools. And welcome and happy Friday.
Good morning, Rina. Thank you so much for having me on the show today. Yes, it's a really exciting time for parents in the city of New York. You know, this week the public schools opened their admissions on Tuesday, and now today our school system, the Catholic school system, is opening their admissions on December 1st, which is pretty early considering.
Is it? Okay, so here's the thing. I'm sitting here on this side going, oh, I'm a parent. I have no idea when the admissions begins for the following year. And so this is really helpful, even to me.
Exactly.
So let's talk a little bit about this admission process because this is for 18 to 19.
Right.
So that's, is that for September? We're saying September to the 19th, right? So that's how you do it. I don't even know. I'm 8 years in the hole of being a mom, right?
Right. Well, that's sort of like you said, it was by design because in previous years, we used to open admissions after the new year. And we found by moving it up to December 1st, which is sort of putting it in line with the public school system, it's giving parents and families, more time to make decisions. And we said, if the public schools are opening and parents are already starting to consider that school system, why not open ours at the exact same time so that we can be on their radar as well. And I have to say, Rina, it's had a tremendous effect. And Touring Tuesdays, which we're going to discuss in a second, is part of facilitating parents making those decisions.
Okay, so Touring Tuesdays is kind of like an orientation of some sort, right? So how does that work? Is it the parents with the children, or is the parents assessing the schools themselves, and how do they get a list, and what kind of, how many schools do they visit within that one Tuesday?
Sure. So there are 133 schools. Almost every elementary school in our system participates in the Touring Tuesday program. And essentially what it is, it's an open house. So from 9 a.m. to 11 a.m., the schools will open their door, welcome parents in, and they can just show up, or they can make an appointment. So they can go on to www.applycatholicschools.ny.org/visit, or call our bilingual hotline in English and Spanish, which is 646-794-2885. And they can either make an appointment or just show up with their child and see the school. I mean, that's, in my opinion, one of the most important ways to help parents make their decision, is to actually go to the school and see the teachers, talk with them, see the technology that we're infusing in the classroom, the laptops, the Chromebooks, and just see the great, safe environment that we've created for parents and families.
So, with regards to the schools in certain neighborhoods, how does one seek the ones that are most convenient for them?
Yes. So if you go on to applycatholicschools.ny.org, you'll actually, there's a tab that you can go to with the school finder. And
Apply Catholic School?
Applycatholicschools.ny.org. And we have a neat feature called the school finder, and you can enter in your zip code, and boom, a list of all the schools.
Like a Google for the Archdiocese.
Exactly.
Very cool.
And it superimposes the schools on Google Maps. So you can actually look and see where the schools are actually located, and then you can click and go to that school website and see all the information on the school, the enrollment, the tuition, and you can even, most importantly, find out information about scholarships. A lot of folks are sort of put off by the idea of Catholic schools because they think, well, there's so much tuition, it's unaffordable. But last year, and consistently year to year, we raise about $12 million for scholarships and aid in our schools. So for low and middle income families, there are scholarship options out there to help them attend a Catholic school.
So let's talk a little bit about the level of education of Catholic school versus public school.
Sure.
And, you know, I'm asking you, like, where we are now. I'm a Catholic schoolgirl, so I went to Catholic school.
Same here.
Yeah, so I'm just curious to know, like, what is the benefits?
Sure. So I'll start with sort of the academic side of things, and then more of the social side of things. So when it comes to academics, year after year, and don't get me wrong, public schools in this city do a phenomenal job, but year after year, what we see from the New York State ELA and math state test scores, our schools in the Bronx and system-wide from all 10 counties are consistently outperforming public and most charter schools in ELA and math. So the one thing I would say for parents is that, you know, just look at the numbers. We're doing so much more on such a smaller budget than some of the public schools have. Then, what I really think is the hallmark of our Catholic school system is the way that we seek to educate the whole person and focus on conscientious citizenship. So for instance, here in the Bronx, our Bronx Catholic schools have a partnership with the University of Virginia Government and Leadership Urban Leadership Program, where graduate students from UVA come here to the Bronx to teach students on civics and leadership and civil discourse. So that's what I think really the extra draw is for Catholic schools.
Nice. So you bring in leaders to teach the leadership component.
Exactly.
That's hot.
Yeah.
I like that.
Yeah.
That they didn't have that one.
You have to be innovative, right?
Absolutely.
Always be innovating.
That's why I asked,
Yeah.
like, where are we now in that development, right? Because,
Sure.
I mean, me personally, I have my daughter in a progressive school, right?
Right.
And that's just because I chose to kind of go the artsy route.
Yeah.
Whereas with the Catholic school, it's like, it's a little more rigid, it's a
Sure.
little more structured.
Sure.
But it all depends on how you want your child to develop.
Exactly, and that's why we say when it comes to schools and education, one size doesn't fit all. And that's why in the Catholic school system and the Archdiocese, we feel strongly about pro-school choice policies, because we want to give parents, especially here in the Bronx, the opportunity to say, well, let me try and find the school that fits my unique needs. And sometimes that's not the local public school. Maybe it's the local Catholic school or charter.
No, which is really good that you're doing this Touring Tuesday. So before we leave, let's just let everyone know the dates of those Touring Tuesdays, because it's not every single Tuesday.
No. So the next Touring Tuesday is actually this coming Tuesday, December the 5th. Then we have, and you can see all the dates when you go online, but I believe they are January 9th, January 30th, March 13th, April 13th, and then April 24th.
Right, it's just so that they understand that you have from here until spring to actually explore
Exactly.
as many schools as possible.
Exactly.
Which
and
is the idea.
Yeah, you can come in at 9 to 11 when they have them, or you can set up a special appointment if you work during the day. So we're very flexible for our parents.
Awesome, thank you.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure.
Ayako.
Yes.
I said it right.
Yes, you did.
All right, you
Thank
guys, if you're interested in Touring Tuesdays and learning more, you can go to catholicschoolsny.org/visit. Okay, we're taking a quick break, but coming up, we'll find out about a powerful and healing book by the co-founders of Loving Meditations. Don't go anywhere.
So, I'm kind of new here, but I've noticed a trend. My human does this funny thing where she goes around and gets all my toys, and then she hides them in that basket by the door. But it's always the same basket, and it's always in the same place. And then she acts so surprised when I find them, but, she's putting them in the same basket. Again. It's like, hello, that's where you put it last time. You were the worst at hide and go seek.
They'll test you. Try to break your will. But however loud the loudness gets, however many cheese puffs may fly, you're the driver, the one in control. Stand firm. Just wait. And move only when you hear the click that says they're buckled in for the drive. Never give up till they buckle up.
Hello and welcome back to Open, everyone. We're always inviting you to get social with us. That's right. Tweet us at BronxNet TV, and while you're there, tweet me too at Rena Valentine. Okay, so live calm with cancer. I know it doesn't sound like something that's possible, but there was a book that was written by a husband and wife duo after they experienced their own stage 4 cancer diagnosis, and so they created this self-help journal full of advice and tips on how to live calmly with cancer using meditation and mindfulness. And joining us now to share more, we welcome the co-founders of Loving Meditations and authors of Living Calmly with Cancer, Tamara Green and David Dashinger. I have to let everybody know what the joke is. It's like Tamara.
Tomatoes, tomatoes.
Yeah, tomatoes, but Tamara, the West Coast version.
West Coast, East Coast.
West Coast, East Coast, got it, right? So, but either way, it's acceptable, but it's Tamara.
I go by anything, yes.
It is great to be here.
It's so good to have you both back. And I really, really applaud you in just bringing your personal life into the forefront at the with the intent of assisting other people get through it. I mean, when you hear Live Calm with Cancer, it's like, how do you do that? I mean, really, how do you do that?
Yeah. For me, I was the caregiver. David had stage 4 cancer, and he's doing great now. Yay. For me, it was being present, being, in each and every moment, being present. Was I all the time? Hell no, I was not. But I would come back to my mindfulness, go into my mindfulness toolbox and pull out some, little tips that we've been doing all along and become present again. And that makes all the difference.
I know, and I love how you keep emphasizing the word present, because I get what you mean about being present, because we can kind of disappear from our own selves based on circumstances, right? So I really need to, address you, David, because it's just really, it's just kind of like being taken over. That's the first thing that comes to my mind. It's like, oh, who is I'm being invaded, and so what do you do with that?
Well, many things happen really quickly. So I was the poster child for good health and working out and eating well, and so I had a lifetime, decades of this track record, and all of a sudden, the doctor walks in and says, you have stage 4 cancer. Well, there's no manual to prepare for that, and I could choose to look at it like a defeat, like my winning streak had been snapped. So at that moment, it's like you're inundated with information, you're in shock because of the diagnosis and what it means. Your life is basically put on hold. And so I was not present at that moment. Thankfully, Tamara was, and to have a caregiver there who can be open into receiving all this important medical information and to kind of help collect it and keep you on track with your appointments and what the routine's going to be, that's huge.
So how long ago was that?
That was in the fall of 2013.
So that was in the fall of 2013. And I'm asking you this because, right, obviously this is what inspired this book. It's like you have to make a choice. You're either going to choose to let it take you, or you're going to learn how to deal with the circumstances.
Right. Choice is the key word right there. I'm going to get busy living or get busy dying.
Right.
And so that was the choice that I had to make at that point. What would it take to find the gift in it? What would it take to get through this epic medical journey with more ease? And so that's also when I started looking back into my mindful toolbox and my meditation practice and seeing how that could come into play to make this a little smoother, a little easier, and more calm.
So we're really here to talk about the book because we had you on before discussing the loving meditation. But let's just give everybody a little insight as to what loving meditation provides and who you provide it for.
So loving meditations, after we went through our experience and we'd been creating mindfulness and meditation programs for my psychotherapy clan for about 7 years. But after our experience with cancer, we decided to create programs specifically for cancer patients, caregivers, and survivors in an app, a delivery system with an app.
And so now you have the app that people can access via their phone, any phone, right?
Any device.
And now you any electronic device, right? Because there's iPads as well. And so now you've written this book. Which how long did it take you guys to write together? I love that you do it together too. I have to say,
It was so much fun.
I bet. I mean, you have a really wonderful, inspiring partnership.
We do.
It's an interesting journey to do these things as a couple after having gone through the cancer experience as a couple. So it probably took us 6 months to write the book. The writing part is one phase, but there's a lot more that goes on after you write the book that we were learning as we went. There's a lot of editing, formatting, the artwork, and then getting it up and publishing it. So it's probably a 9-month process altogether.
So the book serves anyone. It serves anyone who's a caretaker or caregiver, I should say, or somebody who's been diagnosed, or maybe even somebody that hasn't, right? Because you guys do loving meditation, and then for me, I come from the space of like prevention, and it starts there. It starts from that consciousness, and it starts from just meditating.
Right. Or just even being mindful. And we want people to know that meditation is not this thing where you have to just, sit there and be quiet for hours at time. No. You can do a hobby and be mindful. You could be doing the dishes and be mindful. Just be so completely focused on what it feels like when your hand's in the water or, when you're turning off the faucet. That is what we mean by mindful. And meditation is just maybe a longer form of being mindful, right? You're just doing it for a little bit longer. But it's not as hard as people think.
No, I get it. And the word present is everything. Present.
Absolutely.
Mindful, present. They're kind of two in the same. And we take that for granted when we're moving like this.
Oh, yeah.
We're not present.
Right, and our brains are capable of doing like 60,000 thoughts a day. Somebody counted that somehow. But really, how many of those thoughts are helping us? So when we can actually quiet the thoughts and just kind of be more in the moment, more present, less in the monkey thinking mind, amazing things can come through us, and we can all of a sudden become more aware and able to be creative and make good choices and creative choices in that moment.
And so now the book serves in kind of like as a partner to the app. So before we go, let's talk about that. Like, somebody gets the app. How does the book serve the app better than just having the app?
Right. So in each chapter, David talks from the patient perspective. I share from the caregiver perspective. And throughout, we have mindfulness tips throughout the book. And then also, we have meditations at the end of each chapter, and those are in our app. So it's easy to just, you could read it in the book, but you can also listen to David's gorgeous music and my guided voice on the app as well.
Right. So even it's not just for caregivers is the point. It's like,
Right.
if anything, it's really more helpful to the person who's seeking their inner self to kind of overcome whatever obstacles that life has presented.
Yes, and although we have some cancer-specific meditations, many of them could be applied to any life event that's challenging, like relationship, career, health, other medical problems. So it's pretty universal that our mindful tools will help you through. We've had great success stories of people overcoming, even attracting more business and more money into their lives.
Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much for coming here and sharing it
Our
with our
pleasure.
viewers, David.
Thank you
Tamara.
for having us back, Rita.
Absolutely. And you guys, for more on Live Calm with Cancer, you can visit livecalmwithcancer.com. That's for the book. All right, we're taking a quick break, but coming up, we'll learn about the perspective behind a new exhibit at El Barrios Art Space, PS 109. Don't go anywhere.
And I can't change, even if I tried, even if I wanted to. My love, my love, my love, she keeps me warm. 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 She keeps me warm.
We are neighbors and best friends.
I love my sister.
My heart doesn't see race. Love is love.
Our family is no less than any other family.
Love is kind. Love is patient.
Hello, welcome back to Open, everyone. Make sure to stay connected with us by liking us on Facebook at Open BronxNet Television and, Personae. It's a portraits of personal fiction. It's in the latest exhibit by photographer Carlos David, and this particular exhibit features 130 photographs of people representing characters from where? Their imagination. And it's on display now through December 10th at the El Barrios Art Space Gallery in East Harlem. And joining us now to share more, we welcome art director Elliot Ortiz and photographer Carlos David. Hello, welcome.
Hello.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. So, thank you for being here. Thank you for the work that you're doing. Let's talk a little bit about your art space, because I don't think too many people know of its development and its history. I mean, it's been there for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
And let's just talk about the whole, I guess, it's like a committee-based type of residential arts cultural space, right?
Yeah. El Barrio Art Space is an affordable housing especially for artists with low income, and it's the home for 89 artists with their families. And it was developed for Art Space, which is a non-profit real estate developer They made different buildings through all the United States, and this is the first in New York City.
And so you guys are kind of committed to curating certain events throughout the year
Yeah.
based on being artists and coming together. And it's a lovely concept, by the way.
Yeah.
It's a lovely concept. And so Carlos, right? I know you're the art director, and I just wanted to give everybody a little insight of how funky this is, because I just love being in New York, and I just love New York and all these concepts, even though
Yeah.
they're from, what, Minneapolis Art Space, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're here in New York now. And so, Carlos, now you have this, I noticed that you guys do all kinds of presentations. You do dance presentations, you do visual arts presentations, poetry, jazz. I've seen it all. And now we have this wonderful persona that, you know, when I think of persona, of course, I think of poetry, but we're talking about photographs.
Yeah. And one of the ideas was to mix the poetry sensation in an image. That when you look at it, you feel something artistic, not only, you know, on your face photograph, but something that you can read and feel as well.
Right, so it's kind of like it has its own rhythm within the visuals that people are going to be visiting and exhibiting.
Yeah, and one of the
No,
things
you're
you know,
exhibiting. They're seeing.
and the exhibit.
Well, you know.
Actually, the exhibit opens tonight.
It opens today, December
Today,
1st.
Yeah, at 6 p.m. And we had all the photographs, so we've been working on this project for over a year. And we had a lot of images, and I was not sure how I was going to get the funding to, you know, make an exhibit. We got Adorama Pics to fund the exhibit, and they made us like humongous prints. So once we have all these images...
When you say humongous prints, what size are you talking about?
My size.
Your size, life size?
Have, you know, not all of them are my size, but I have
Whoa,
many
that
images
must
my
be
size.
really interesting.
It's incredible to see this.
We
in
have some
real.
images, right, that we can show our
Yes,
viewers?
I believe so.
Oh,
And
so,
it's
okay, but
lovely.
you're saying some of them, so how many of them are life size?
10 of them are life size.
That's a lot.
Then we have 20 that are, you know, like 3/4. And as we put them together, he's an art director and choreographer. I'm a photographer. And when we put it together, it's like you go in the subway and you see all these people that are kind of random. So we teamed with Miguel Rivera, and he is doing all the curation, deciding what goes with what. So when you go to the exhibit, you can see a flow of the images.
Well, we just looked at some images, and so even though we're back to us here in the studio, I just wanted to share with our viewers that the whole premise of your curation is for people to use their imagination and become characters.
Yes, yes.
So who decided what characters they were going to be?
Well, each person, we would be letting them tell us what they're imagining and all, and then our director.
Yeah, it was a process because we work with makeup artists, hairstylists. We have also different costume designers. It was to balance all the themes, and sometimes long meetings trying to decide, okay, what's the good look for Rina, and how we can get it, and then
I can
during
tell
the
you right
photo
now,
shoot.
Betty Boop.
Oh, let's do it. Let's do it. You know?
Let's do it.
And the thing is that when we see magazines, we see, you know, these famous people with all these productions. So I wanted to give anyone that opportunity. So we had a makeup artist, hairstylist, a whole production, whole photo shoot, you know, for real.
We had in some of the images I saw somebody kind of like resemble Frida Kahlo. I don't know if we
Yes,
showed
yes,
the image of Wonder Woman. Can we put up some more
Wonder
images
Woman,
just so that
that's
we
one
can
of the
discuss them a little
life-size.
more?
Yeah.
Just because I'm curious to know how you guys were able to, I guess, design the costumes so that there's a reality to them, but they're fantasy. Because that's what. Okay, so here's Wonder Woman, right there.
Yeah,
And so let's talk about that.
that one is a life size.
That's a life size?
That's humongous. And
And I
when-
love that she's very Latina.
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And
She's from
practiced.
Colombia.
Love it.
When she came there, I could see that she was practicing for days, the posing, the mouth, the look. So it was a whole collaboration where they give us the idea of what they want to do. We try to provide, you know, as many production things that we can and discuss with them the concept. But then it's about the moment, how comfortable they can feel, how much they trust us to really show what they're imagining.
So there's 10 life size. How many are all on exhibit
All of them.
altogether?
All the images, we have 130 images
130. Wow.
on exhibit.
133?
133. on exhibit
133 are on exhibit.
right now.
Right now, well, you open tonight, right?
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so let's talk about the reception before we go.
The opening is run between 6 to 9 p.m.
Right.
in El Barrio Art Space, which is 215 East 99th Street.
Okay.
Free.
It's free.
It's free.
There's going to be a cocktail, there's going to be some nibblings, and a lot of people.
And
do some sketching.
133 photos
Yeah.
of our people, right?
Yes,
Because you chose
yes,
people,
it's all
local artists,
community,
and
yeah.
it seems like you chose
Yeah.
regular people as well that
That
are
was the
not
deal.
professional models.
No,
Yes, and
no.
that
We
was
had
the
social
idea.
workers, nurses, farmers, all kind of people. All kind of people.
And what do you hope to send in messaging to anyone that comes? And are they for sale too?
Yeah, they will be for sale. And, I want to show that we can all, if we work together and if we're together as a community, we can do whatever we want to do. Not only a business, but also an art creation. So for
Right.
me, it's that together we can do better things.
Well, I
beautiful
love
things.
the artistic component. I love the fantasy component. And most importantly, I love that you're keeping us documented in another form that serves as fine art.
Yeah.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rina, for having us.
Okay, you guys, once again, Personae, Portraits of Personal Fiction, is on display now through December 30th at the Barrios, is it December 30th?
December 10th.
10th, excuse me. I want to make sure you guys get it right. I thought so. It's December 10th, and it opens tonight, December 1st, at El Barrios Art Space, PS 109 Gallery, located on 215 East 99th Street. And once again, the reception is December 1st, Friday, from 6 to 9. And if you would like more information, you can visit carlosdavid.org. That's carlosdavid.org. Okay, so stay tuned, you guys. Bobby C's Weekly Sports Roundup is coming up next.
Patriotism. It inspires passionate debate. It's worn like a badge of honor with good reason, because it means love and devotion for one's country. But what really makes up this country of ours? It's the people. To love America is to love all Americans. This year, patriotism shouldn't just be about pride of country. It should be about love. Love beyond age, sexuality, disability, race, religion, and other labels. Because love has no labels.
Behold, the angry giant. Behold, the angry giant. Behold, the angry giant. Behold, the angry giant. It only takes a moment to make a moment. Take time to be a dad today.
Well, Thomas, you've got prediabetes. But with more exercise and a change in diet, it can be reversed.
I've tried exercising. It just makes me hungry for bacon.
I love bacon, too. And who really likes to exercise?
Not me.
Me neither.
Nobody. So we're good?
What? Oh, you still have prediabetes. Big time.
We cannot be bystanders.
We can stop to make sure someone is okay.
We can warn someone when their drink isn't safe.
And disrupt the situation.
We can.
Get someone a cab.
Or walk them home safely.
We can make campuses safer for our friends.
Our roommates.
Our classmates. Our fellow human beings.
We cannot be bystanders.
We can. Intervene.
It's on us.
All of us.
Learn how and take the pledge at itsonus.org.
We begin on the NFL gridiron, where the New York Giants made huge headlines this week for something other than a loss, but more on that later. New York football this season has been anything but in the giving mood this holiday season, unless you're an opponent. Gang Green, for all their hard efforts and team spirit, could use Yankee great Mariano Rivera. Why, you ask? Because they simply cannot close. A 34-yard fumble return for a touchdown and a 60-yard punt return for a score capped a stunning swing in the fourth quarter that lifted the Carolina Panthers to a 35-27 comeback win over the sinking Jets. We go inside the locker room for more.
I'd say, just as a collective, and me being one of the leaders on this team, is just starting enforcing the little things a lot more. And that starts on the practice field. So just going back and enforcing situational football. It's not just like a basic first down. It's just situational football. And I think that's about it for us to turn the corner, honestly.
Stuff happens in the NFL, and we were playing so well the whole game. We shouldn't have let that happen. But, them guys made plays. I give them all the credit.
Got to finish, man. It's simple. Everybody sees it. We're not finishing ball games. The ones we lose, we blow leads, and we have to get better.
I feel like, it's growing pains. We gain life, games, everything. And, it's not always about, it's not how you start, it's how you finish. And that's what we're lacking at. We got to improve in that aspect. We can't let those key situations, those key moments, and give up those, make the game easier for them. We can't do that.
The Jets are now 4-7. They welcome another struggling club to MetLife Stadium on Sunday as the Kansas City Chiefs come to town for a 1 p.m. kickoff. The recently signed Darrelle Revis will be suiting up for the Chiefs when they visit the Jets, a team with which he played for 8 seasons. We'll see if Revis Island returns or if the Jets can stop their recent 2-game slide. The Giants, meanwhile, continued their woes in Washington last week. The Redskins managed to post a 20-10 win over the anemic G-men. Kirk Cousins threw 2 touchdown passes to compensate for a pick-6, and the Skins beat Big Blue on Thanksgiving night in a matchup between 2 injury-depleted teams that did not look ready for prime time. One man that was always ready for prime time was Giants signal caller Eli Manning. Manning was at Giants practice Wednesday, except this time the 2-time Super Bowl MVP was no longer the main man. He was the understudy, relegated to the scout team, splitting reps with rookie Davis Webb. Giants head coach Ben McAdoo shocked the NFL world Tuesday, announcing that he will start Geno Smith at quarterback for Sunday's game against the Oakland Raiders. That game kicks at 4:25 p.m. Eastern Time and will mark the end of an era. It snaps Manning's streak of 210 consecutive regular season games, the second longest by a quarterback in NFL history, behind Brett Favre and his 297. More on Manning's legacy in the C-list. Stay tuned. Time for some quick hitters from around the world of sports. The next manager of the New York Yankees will be one of these 6 candidates: Aaron Boone, Rob Thompson, Hensley Mullins, Carlos Beltran, Eric Wedge, or Chris Woodward. Yankees GM Brian Cashman told reporters he has finished interviewing candidates. Cashman said there will be no second round of interviews, and he will make a recommendation to owner Hal Steinbrenner soon. Sources have highlighted the interviews of Boone, Mullins, and Beltran as strong, while Thompson, a Yankee employee for 28 years, would likely be the safest choice. Tough call, but if it's between one of the younger candidates, I might lean towards Bam Bam Mullins, who has been the bench coach for Bruce Bochy in San Francisco, and he speaks 5 different languages, including Japanese. He also managed Didi Gregorius and the Netherlands in the World Baseball Classic. Boone, meanwhile, comes from a baseball family dynasty, and Beltran just wrapped a possible 20-year Hall of Fame career that includes success with both New York teams and, of course, a World Series this year with the Houston Astros. On the NBA hardwood, the Knicks are coming off a 115-86 win over Miami Wednesday night. The 11-10 Knicks will host Orlando Sunday at the Garden. The Nets will host Atlanta Saturday. They are 8-13 on the year after beating Dallas 109-104 Wednesday night. Knicks fans can also breathe a sigh of relief. An MRI taken Thursday on Knicks star Kristaps Porzingis' injured right ankle was negative, revealing no damage. Porzingis was hurt Wednesday when Justice Winslow stepped on Porzingis' right foot. On the ice, the Rangers are 13-10-2 and will take on Carolina at home tonight. The Hurricanes are 10-8-5. The Broadway Blue Shirts will be looking to bounce back from a 5-4 defeat to Florida on Tuesday night. Those are the headlines. We hit the C-list for more on Eli Manning. Just when you thought the season and the franchise couldn't get any further into the abyss, Giants head coach Ben McAdoo goes and does this. Let's be clear, Eli Manning one day will have a bust in Canton, Ohio. I don't care if you don't like him, he's a Hall of Famer. If he never takes another snap in the NFL, he's a Hall of Famer. And more importantly, Eli Manning is the greatest quarterback to ever wear a Giants uniform. And that puts him in some pretty elite company with the likes of Wyatt Tittle and Charlie Connerly. The franchise might be known for its defensive stalwarts, but when the team has won championships, they've had some pretty good quarterbacks under center, guys like Phil Simms. But none have done it better than Eli Manning. And for that, Eli deserves much better than this. Manning had started every Giants game since November 21st, 2004, dating back to his rookie season where he was the #1 overall pick in the draft when he took over for Hall of Famer Kurt Warner. He led the Giants to 2 Super Bowl titles, both against the New England Patriots and arguably the greatest quarterback ever in Tom Brady. The Giants are 2-9 this season. McAdoo cited being out of contention and evaluating his roster, including at quarterback, as the reason for the change. Manning, who has 14 touchdown passes to 7 interceptions this season, will turn 37 on January 3rd. Although we don't know what next season will bring, I hope Eli gets one more chance to shine in his Giants uniform. Geno Smith becomes the first Giants black starting quarterback in franchise history, making the Giants the final team in the NFL to do that. Smith also started 30 games in his four seasons with the Jets, but let's be real, he's not the future. Got some talent, but if he couldn't hack it with the Jets, you really think he's anything more than a backup with the Giants. And rookie Davis Webb, yes, he's a third rounder, but you think he's ready? I say not. And I say Smith gets a rude awakening on Sunday in Oakland when he's running for his life behind that horrible offensive line for the Giants, searching for anyone to throw the ball to. There's no Odell Beckham Jr. out there, my friend. Good luck. As for Manning, I think he'll get a chance to get back on the field and write a better ending to his fairy tale career, But if I'm Eli, I want out of New York. I'll take my chances with Tom Coughlin in Jacksonville or John Elway in Denver. Like the Knicks learned when Patrick Ewing was sent packing, life afterward isn't what you think it's going to be. The Giants are in for a rude awakening themselves. Sorry, Eli, you deserved much better than this. And thank you for 2 Super Bowl MVPs and 1 classy career. That's your sports. I'm Bobby C.
Music is a bridge between the material and the spiritual. As a blind person, you have to be aware that nobody can tell you what you can or can't do. You really have to try things. My wife, who was also blind, was a good cook. When she died, that's when I started Meals on Wheels. My name is Harvey Lauer. America, let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say hello. Volunteer by donating your lunch break at americaletsdolunch.org.
Maybe you can make retirement happen. After all, you made this vacation happen.
Double points with every purchase?
Cleverly merging promotions.
Love it.
Cross-referencing travel sites. And booking all your flights with those...
Vouchers. I got us bumped.
They were like, oh. But now they're like... Aloha. You aced this vacation. Now get the tips you need to get on track at aceyourretirement.org.
welcome back to Open, everyone. Well, we're getting ready to end their incredible run, I should say, on Broadway. Charlie and the Chocolate Factory sets out. Well, it's on its way to for a U.S. tour next fall. And before their final curtain, BronxNet caught up with one of the stars of the show to discuss her role and the experiences of being a Latina on Broadway. Reporter Lizzie Dominguez takes us out in the open.
With a passion for the stage and a gift for dance, this Nicaraguan and Cuban performer has taken over the Broadway world. Originally from Los Angeles, Emma Pfeffel knew from an early age she wanted to become a dancer.
And I started dancing when I was 4 years old, and I was always in programs. Like in my middle school, I was in an arts program. I did musical theater on the side, but mostly with my focus on dance. So that was always something I was interested in, musical theater, but my focus and my goal in my career was to be a concert dancer.
In a short period of time, Emma's career took her from the dance world to the world of Broadway.
My goal was never to go to Broadway. Broadway was something more that found me. Eventually, I auditioned for Finding Neverland, and that was for the workshop, like the creation. And that was really, really special because I got to create this show. And it was very difficult. It was a very difficult but really fulfilling and incredible experience, and it changed my life forever. I made my debut here in the same theater, and during Finding Neverland, like during the end of the run, I booked the lab of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory.
When Veruca says more, I buy another store, and when Veruca
Emma continues to leave her Broadway mark in the same theater, this time as part of the cast of Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, where she plays the role of Veruca Salt.
So Veruca is a spoiled brat. She's basically just off the rails, and she is such a juxtaposition from Charlie. All the other kids, they're basically like the 7 deadly sins. They're like these awful, terrible kids that end up getting what they deserve in the end. What's different about this version is that she's a Russian ballerina, and that was never done because the director and the choreographer, when they brought it to New York from London, they wanted to do something different. But it was really fun to be able to create a new Veruca.
To be part of world-renowned stories on Broadway is one thing, but to represent her culture and to encourage others to thrive is something else that Emma is passionate about.
Well, I am Latina, and that is part of who I am. That's part of my soul. That's part of it. It affects my everyday life because it is part of who I am. Every day, being myself is being Latina. As a Latino performer, I want to show kids in the Latino community that they can do whatever with hard work and with ambition. They can do whatever they want. They don't only have to be in Latino shows. Like in this show, I am a Russian. In my other show, I was from London. You can, with hard work, you can be anybody that you want to be.
From the adventurous character of Wendy to the expressively animated personality of Veruca and Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Emma Pfeffel adds layers of herself in each performance while holding on to her Latin heritage. For Out in the Open, Lizzie Dominguez.
Lovely. Thank you so much for that, Lizzie Dominguez. All right, so Live Big Girl is a poetic play about 3 women and their different and not so different experiences of living in a body that is not celebrated. And together they teach self-awareness, self-acceptance, and most importantly, self-love. Please welcome the 3 actresses, Vanessa Chica Ferreira, Karina G. Lopez, and Rebecca Louise Lucret. And well, ladies, we're gonna live big, girl.
All day, every day.
I love it. I love it. You ladies are a true inspiration, and I'm very, very curious to know what inspired even putting the whole project together. Was there body shaming involved?
Well, I think we all have different times in our lives that there's some kind of body shaming,
but it happened organically. It just evolved. It was an idea of something totally different, and then as time went along, it evolved into this, and we're like, you know what? Yeah, live big. Let's do this.
Right. And so let's just start even with the family, right? What is that like to just be looked at in a way as if though there's something wrong, right? Meanwhile, we live in a society of different colors, different flavors, different sizes. And after a while, that kind of plays on your psyche, right? And so here we are reversing it. And I say we because I include myself because I'm voluptuous.
There you are.
And, and I'm proud of it, But the point is that for some reason, society has set a standard that kind of determines the way we're supposed to look.
Yeah, it is.
So who wants to answer that?
Any of us.
I was asking about your family. I was asking about, because it starts with the family, right? Because you at least I know, growing up, it was always like, tú te estás poniendo gordita.
Always.
Tú estás gorda, no come tanto. But yeah, they're putting the food on the plate.
Right. Y no bote la comida.
Right, and don't
Yeah.
throw the food away.
Yeah.
Right. So I really want to know the core of what it is that it brought you to be on the forefront and just kind of say, look, we're going to put it out there and I'm going to feel good about myself, and we want those of you who look like us to feel good about yourself too, because that's what Live Big Girl is about, right?
Absolutely.
So who wants to start?
Sure. So 2 years ago, we did this performance together, and then we became friends after that. We were always friends, but we became more close, and then we started noticing that a lot of our stories had something in common. Like, did you know I was on the bus and somebody told me this, or really that happened to me too? And yeah, did you know that the doctor told me because I have a cold, it's because I'm fat? And so we were like, we have a lot of stories in common. It'll be fun if we do something together. And then Vanessa was like, that's actually a good thing. I'm like, let's think about it.
So is poetry, comedy, what does the show entail?
It runs the gamut. So
Yeah.
it starts before conception, right? Our family, my mom felt a certain way, and she kind of gave it to me.
See, I didn't even know that. I said family, right? Boom, right there.
I mean, it starts with the family.
Right,
Even
that's what I mean.
without them even knowing, they just put that on us, and then we take that on into the world, and we face the world, and the world is not a friendly place. So, I mean, I'm 41, I'm not perfect, but I am perfect. And I want to live big. So this is the opportunity to just bring that out into the world and to share it, and I'm so happy that they're joining me.
Yeah, and look, they put up your quote, double chin,
Don't
care.
care.
I'm fabulous. Hello. Woo, love that. Go ahead, Vanessa. So are you Rebecca, right?
Yes, I'm Rebecca.
Yes, I know, Rebecca. You're just sitting there like, I want to hear from you.
I'm thinking about how the process, right? We were starting a different project. I started this, we were gonna do something else, and when we get together, we're talking about all our stories, and you're not like, we're gonna do this. Kind of just, because if you would have asked me, oh, you wanna do a play about being big, I would have been like, no, because this is what, it's family, society, I don't wanna talk about this. This is supposed to be, I'm supposed to be hiding this. So I've grown a lot, yeah.
Wow. That's deep right there.
So I've grown a lot.
Your mind is already conditioned to, well, look, we're looking at your quote now. What does it say? I'm not going to
sacrifice my mental health to have a perfect body.
I'm not going to sacrifice my mental health to have a perfect body. Exactly what we just said. Right?
Right.
No, because you're saying psyche, right? It's like, your instinct is to hide. And that's not what you're doing here.
No.
So I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I had to
No,
have
it's
that
fine.
moment.
It's fine. I'm listening to these women. I'm like, they've done so much for me. So I can only imagine when people come to see this, what are we doing for people? Like, if somebody's leaving there thinking, you know what, they're right. You know what, I'm going to wear this top, or I'm going to do this. Because why not? We only have one life. So why not? Live big.
Live big in every aspect of the word. Karina, your turn.
So for me, I mean, everybody has a different journey. We all have different journeys. Some of us are okay, some of us are not okay, and it's okay not to be okay. I'm the type of person that believes that, let's say you do have a goal. If you do have a goal, then still live big in that moment till you reach your goal. Don't wait until that goal is met to be happy and live your life. So I just say, whatever it is that you're going through, whatever stage you're at your moment, whatever it is that you're doing, live big.
Now we're looking at your quote.
Okay.
What does your quote say? She's like,
Because I also wear a size 6.
Right.
With a 1 in front of it.
With
So I got swag too, you know what I'm saying?
I love that.
I got swag too.
I like that. I like that. That's also not hiding, right? It's like, yeah, I wear a 6 with a 1 in front of it, but I still got swag. I feel you. I like that. I like that. So, all right. So, I'm really psyched about your show. I've been psyched about it since I heard about it, and I'm so happy that you guys are here sharing it with our viewers. And I also want to just talk a little bit about this is a particular market now. It's the plus size market, and so do you feel that should even be identified as such?
Interesting.
I think that we should be looking at that. I think they're doing great work. Like they're not doing as much, what are we doing, photoshopping? Like we're seeing real women and with real shapes, and we're different. It's not, this plus size figure that has this hourglass. No, we're different, round, we're square, they're doing amazing work, I have to say.
I love it.
All right, so before we go, we got to talk really quickly because we're going to wrap up soon about the show and what people can expect because it's tomorrow. It's a one-night shot deal.
One night.
I hope you do it again, but let's talk really quickly before we go.
So it's our stories from
Right.
childhood to now,
Yes.
all in between, in all different forms, comedic, dramatic, just come.
How long is the show?
About an hour.
An hour. It's directed by Peggy Robles
Alvarado, yes.
Alvarado, who we
Yes.
love as well.
Yes.
And it's your stories, and it's the stories of just basically being body positive.
It's our stories, but it's also your story and everyone
Correct.
else's.
Right. Okay. Any last words?
National Black Theater tomorrow, 7 o'clock, 6:30. Open the doors. We'll hope to see you there.
And
please come.
I think it's one of those shows that women should come in groups as a women's night out, as a means of just looking in the mirror and just.
And for men too.
Well, yes,
Yeah.
for men too, so that they can be a little better educated in the way they communicate to women who like having carne que pasa.
Hey, why not? Why not?
Congratulations to
Thank
you,
you
ladies.
so much. Thank you so much.
for being brave and bringing it out into the forefront. I look
We're
forward
honored
to
to be
seeing
here.
what's in store.
Awesome.
All right, you guys, once again, be sure to see these ladies in Live Big Girl, which is happening on Saturday, December 2nd at 7 p.m. at the National Black Theater, which is located on 2031 Fifth Avenue. That's off of 125th Street, right?
Yes.
And for more information, you can visit livebiggirl.wixsite.com/livebiggirl, and you can find them on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. They're all over the place. So I just highly recommend that you follow them. Great stories, and once again, body positive. All right, that's our show today, mi gente. Thanks to all of our guests and for coming through, and to you for tuning in. If you miss any part of the show, you can check out the recablecast tonight and 24 hours a day at BronxNet.tv. I'm Rena Valentin, and from all of us here at Open, may the universe provide paz, prosperity, y amor. Keep hope alive. Puerto Rico todavía necesita ayuda. Mua. Adiós.
After 15 years of smoking, Eva Marie quit. There's a new lung cancer screening that could save her life. You stopped smoking. Now start screening. Learn more at savedbythescan.org.
Hamilton was adopted from a rescue in 2008. He's quite the pug about town. He gets invited to a lot of parties. He knows he's a pretty big deal. How could you not love him?
Music is a bridge between the material and the spiritual. As a blind person, you have to be aware that nobody can tell you what you can or can't do. You really have to try things. my wife, who was also blind, was a good cook. When she died, that's when I started Meals on Wheels. My name is Harvey Lauer. America, let's do lunch.
Drop off a hot meal and say hello. Volunteer by donating.